Okay, Sanderson?
Well, you know, I kind of got mixed feelings. But it seems like that's
I guess the air conditioning just doesn't work at all.
It's comfy though.
That's comfy?
No, I would not consider this.
Yeah, 80% relative.
Sweaty, yes.
Cozy and sweaty. It's kind of like being outside. What are we trying to figure this out?
So,
Hi, Jay.
so at the last hearing, we had basically two things we had to fix or correct. One was the lighting, dark sky, and then the second one was the letter from John Fields about the grade change of the fence. So I still haven't, John was on vacation last week, so I still haven't got that part yet.
Okay.
I have a couple emails into him I want to follow up later. But we have updated the lighting, so here's, I submitted this over to Betsy yesterday. What we're doing is these are all dark sky compliant for Hinckley's catalog.
Okay.
The only two lights that aren't changing, so these were the lights that we showed you last time. Basically, there's the sconces, there's a hanging light.
Yeah.
So these are now just replacing them.
The bulb is up in here.
Exactly, yep.
Yeah.
And then, so the only lights that are staying, so this will be the wall light still, and then the pool light. So the pool light hasn't changed. And that's the low, that's 443 lumen, so it's very small pool light.
Aren't they cool looking?
They're actually really nice.
They're really beautiful.
They are. The only difference is, and this is kind of surprising to me,
Yeah.
I don't know if you recall, but the last one we did was like about 10.6 for lumens, 10,600.
Yeah.
With these new lights, the lumens jump up to 20,065.
Whoa.
No fixture, they're exact same
Same
locations,
thing.
no number changes, nothing. They jumped up 10,000 lumens.
Wow.
I'm
So the,
Amazing.
but I don't know how that
Because
works.
they're much
Yeah, what
brighter,
happened?
I mean,
I think because the fixtures themselves are bright. I went from I think these are all 100 watts. A lot of these are 100 watts, and the other ones were all 60 watts, stuff like that. So it all basically
How could
doubled.
they be
They
dark
don't-
sky compliant if they're twice as bright?
that doesn't seem right, because here it says the
Yeah.
lumens
Here's
are
it like
600,
600, yeah.
which seems reasonable. Lumens 900,
Yeah.
something's wrong.
No, it's the
So
no,
what's
the
the
numbers
final
didn't change.
figure?
It's
Pushing
20,065.
our limit.
As opposed to what? Was it
It was
before?
like 10,900 or something. like that.
But that means that the lamps you had there, or the fixtures you had there before were like, 10 lumens or something.
They were the ones they had it. I know they were less. That's I was saying when I saw the numbers they had, I got it straight from the architect.
Somebody's numbers are wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
someone's everything. I
something
have a
is
feeling that
wrong.
the first group's numbers,
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
classification
That's more
was
light,
wrong.
doesn't make
Because
any
that just
sense.
So
doesn't make
which-
sense.
These are all still LEDs.
Which are which? 612 Here it is, 600. I mean, those are not unreasonable lumens. So,
And we're talking about probably 60 lumens per watt, right?
Well, it's these are all based on the lumens that were provided by the contract, the manufacturer.
Let me see if I understand it. Is it because if it's an opaque glass that can increase the intensity? Is it-
Well, no, they're up in the housing.
Understood.
Yeah. So what happens is the lumen count is based on the eye's perception of what it can see for light.
Right.
So if you get it from the manufacturer, you'll have the correct number.
Right.
It's when you have to actually come up with a number where you're supposed to basically take, because they have if you used to go bulb like a incandescent or LED,
Right.
there's actually on the Fed websites, they tell you what the correlation is.
Right.
But that doesn't take into account that it's a hidden in the housing, so all that other
Understood.
stuff.
This is what you educated us before
Yeah.
the last time.
Right.
The fixture can define what the lumen
Exactly,
is
yeah.
going to be. Right. But this is what's so counterintuitive about
Yeah.
this.
so this says 8, this says 6 for sconces.
In terms of number.
No, but this is
Quantity of fixtures.
This says sconce. It's a Hinckley number 13288. This is a.
That's the
where's-
sconce.
There isn't a Hinckley number 13288. Oh, with BK. This is a pendant. That's a pendant fixture.
Right.
I think he's got. I think they might have the things reversed.
132.
The numbers
This
don't-
one,
No,
this
right,
one
that
I
should
think
be
should
8.
go there. So that's 2 at 600. That's or we'll have 4 at 900, 3600. And then this one is the scones, that's.
Right, that
that's-
should be 600,
So you
that's
gotta
exactly
take
right.
4,800.
And also, they're supposed to be 6, not 8.
Right.
So that
That's
helps.
right.
So if you have, that'll be half. If
Six
it's
times
6 times 600, will be
3,600.
3,600.
So now we're down to around 15,000.
Yeah,
That makes
Yeah.
more
so the
sense.
table's wrong.
Right, the table's wrong.
But are there 14 of these and 11
These haven't
of
changed from
these?
last time yet. So the path light
But
though,
those numbers aren't too bad.
No.
these are those little copper moon ones. The path lights are this letter here.
Right.
And
So
so
this is the
they're-
one that's jumping out.
Yeah, so that should be 900 and that should be 600.
Right.
One of each down to 6.
Down to 6, and that'll change things a lot.
So I just accepted the chart. I was just amazed.
You gotta read these things. It's the only entertainment we get.
It didn't pass the sniff test.
But I thought I was going to use this later and go, remember that time when the dark skies lights went way up? So yeah,
So we're okay with these fixtures, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll update that. Sorry about this.
Directing traffic.
No, air circulation.
They only give me PDFs. You want these for the hot copies? So I'll update this. And then I'll get, I don't know, were you able to speak with John? Because I was followed up on, I don't know if he ever spoke to you about it.
Nope.
Okay, all right, so then I'll contact him again tomorrow.
I did a draft decision, which I'm not, I mean, there's a number of blanks that need to be filled in.
Do you want to send it to me by email and then I can fill them in?
The same people, the same people. You know,
To read these
there
things?
are 4 of us. What if each of us takes one of these and is responsible for the editing? Is that-
Let's see, one of them is 4 pages long. Another is 4 pages long. One of them is 10 pages long.
That's Steve's.
And one
Is
of
that
them is 4
Sanderson Road?
pages
That's
long.
Wait, one of them is like, 1, 2.
Oh, I hosted the Bell Atlantic Mobile.
Okay, there's Bell Atlantic, there's 2 Bell Atlantic Mobile, there's an NPOW, there's 18 Sanderson, and I'm missing another Bell Atlantic Mobile.
Impound, let's,
MPOW looks good.
impound is just boilerplate, isn't it? Is there anything, maybe that's the way to do it. Is there anything in these that's not boilerplate?
Wait a minute.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jay.
Quit
Good night.
grinning. Because you're leaving.
Okay. Okay, MPOW was there anything? The only thing that was not boilerplate was,
Number of seats.
on page 3, condition number 2, I wanted to make sure that I got that language right, because remember they started the camp early. So
2013.
I was trying to figure out how to write it.
So permit to operate the day camp is applicable for years 2014 through 2018 inclusive. And the board waived the written decision, the procedural requirements for the 2014 camp year.
I'm not sure if there's a better way to write that.
I don't think, I mean, it's clear.
Okay.
It's clear to me.
Yeah.
But we waived our written decision, but have we waived the requirements for the 2014 camp year, or?
Well, what I meant was procedural requirements in terms of the appeal and, because they already started.
Procedure.
It's written that way.
Okay. All right, seems reasonable.
And then the Board of Health requirements, that's a pretty standard thing. The condition 1 was if they go to over 30 students in one session, they have to come back. And then they have to record it at the registry.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion?
So wait a minute, it says
No.
Oh, no, I mean, okay, never mind.
Okay, is there anything else?
Yeah, it's a 4-0 decision.
Yeah,
And you said that the camp sounded terrific.
terrific, I know, I'm so embarrassed. I can't-
Well, I can delete that.
well, you could probably. We can just say the board members stated,
Intriguing?
yeah, all the board members
The
said.
camp sounded terrific. I like that. That just stay in there.
Well, I
I thought it
did,
was very, I
it's
thought it was
absolutely.
just very
Yeah,
fresh
I
and
know.
very.
Well, it
you
does
know?
sound terrific. I wanted to attend it, you know, I might learn how to turn my head.
Okay, I move that we accept the site plan approval for Empower Studios.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. All righty, 3 left. Verizon, that's a fairly straightforward one.
Which
Anything in this one that's not boilerplate?
Okay,
Which one?
hang on.
Oh, the
Bell
old one,
Atlantic.
Verizon, right?
Well, there's two
Not
Verizon.
Verizon.
There's one Bell
I'm
Atlantic
sorry.
and there's one,
Well, they're both Bell Atlantic Verizon. So one of them is one Sudbury Road and one is 180 Boston Post Road.
yeah.
Weren't there actually 3?
Yeah.
There
Yes,
are
one-
3, and I just said that I was missing one because I
Oh,
didn't get it
sorry.
done in time.
Would you pay attention?
I'm sorry,
So-
shoot me.
Okay, so we're gonna do the.
Sudbury Road?
Sure.
Okay, so Sudbury Road,
Business as Verizon.
yeah, pretty much. One thing is, I could elaborate a little more on the, on page 2, number 4, materials submitted. There was I included the application. The application did have exhibits. And so what I should do is add those exhibits because I did add the exhibits on the next one.
Okay.
So just to be very consistent, I'll add the exhibits.
I'm sorry, you're doing O for Boston Post Road, sorry.
We're doing
Sudbury Road.
Sudbury Road.
Oh,
Okay, so the approval, then what I did was I looked at the other application, the other approval, and basically said, you have to comply with former approvals, you have to comply with the variance, you have to comply with safety codes. So pretty much the language on page 3 of conditions is pretty much all boilerplate language.
Okay, I guess my question would be, looking at 1 Sudbury Road and 180 Boston Post Road, there seems like they should be almost identical, but they're not. Like the background and authority is very short for 180 Boston Post Road, and then you've
Well,
listed 8 materials.
You know why that is that what I did was I looked at the prior decisions and kind of mimicked them, and they were both very different. So I
Okay.
can standardize more if you
Well,
want.
no, I'm really just questioning it. If that seems like the right thing to do, but then how come you have 8 materials submitted for 180 Boston Post Road when I think they submitted the same materials?
Right, and that's what I
So she
just
was
said
just
is
saying,
I
she's
will
gonna
add the
modify this.
exhibits.
It's just,
Okay. Sorry, I can't read it.
And not in this
Clearly.
conditions, in these jungle.
Clearly.
Yeah. So I would add the exhibits,
And then the conditions are different too.
right, and that's because I went by the,
Does that make sense that they would have different conditions, like Boston Post Road has?
Well, they would kind of,
Condition.
yeah, because they're different
Fire
sites.
station and the other one's.
Yeah, one's a
Okay.
private property.
Just asking.
and one was the Unipole and one had the.
Right, right,
road
right,
access.
right.
About
I like the unit. And
Is
one's,
that
oh, one's in
the-
Norfolk, of the Norfolk Pine. The most faux.
Okay. So these were all just basically cobbled right off the original
Paste,
decisions.
Right.
with updated information, but then what I did on conditions, on condition 3 on Sudbury Road, I said, the conditions noted in the board's prior special permit and site plan decision dated March 10, 2009 shall be complied with, because that was the baseline, and that had a whole series of conditions.
oh, I see. This is a continuation of those conditions.
I mean, the other option is I can bring all of those conditions forward.
The reason for doing that is because things have a bad habit of getting lost in the shuffle.
Okay?
And so when you reference some other
Okay,
document.
I can bring all those conditions forward.
The thing is, when I look at the conditions for 180 Boston Post Road, for example, number 6, prior to a final inspection from the building inspector and prior to the operation of the antenna, the applicant shall submit a report of the existing ambient conditions of radio frequency, blah, blah, blah.
Does the board ever do those?
Yeah, actually, we do.
Okay.
But why wouldn't we have that for Sudbury Road?
Well, because this
that
one-
was in a prior, that was in the prior approval. So I can bring all those forward, and what this board, it seems like what this board has said is every 3 to 5 years, you're supposed to provide us information on ambient stuff and ambient noise and radio frequency emissions and all that stuff.
Right. And the reason for that, Steve, is that there's this background uneasiness about cell towers.
Right,
You know, we're all, you know, going to go blind or whatever.
Right.
And so this is documentation that they're conforming to the regulations, that it's not excessive radiation.
But we only need it for one location, is that what you're saying?
No, she's saying that that's in this one, but she included it by reference.
So I can bring all the conditions.
Okay, so for 180, you brought it forward, and for 1 Sudbury, you didn't, is what you're
That's
saying.
what, after
Right.
I'm
discussion.
just trying to
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, that's what I understood.
Yeah, because you said in 4 years.
Well, but I also brought it, so on 180 Boston Post Road, what I also did was on page 3, condition 3, the conditions noted in the board's prior approval and
Oh.
site plan approval shall be complied with. So, I mean, if you want me to keep carrying all the conditions forward, I can go back and do that.
I just think you need to be
Suspect
consistent.
safe.
So if you have numbers 6, 7, and 8, or 6 or 7, which I don't see in 1 Sudbury, and
Well,
1.
it's
which
possible
have
it
in
wasn't
the other.
in one Sudbury, because there's a certain amount of inconsistency.
But then you're
of the
saying that you're
decision.
just saying that you're just noting the conditions in the prior special permit and not repeating them, so I'm confused. I don't know. I just think we should be consistent.
I can bring all the conditions forward of
I
the
think
former.
that's the cleanest thing
Okay.
to do. Then
Okay.
some future person isn't trying to rummage through files to find, you know,
Okay,
ancient documents.
okay,
2009 is beginning to look more and more ancient.
okay. So I can do that.
So-
5 years ago.
Yeah. Okay, so, having said all that, does anybody want to make a motion on 1 Sudbury Road decision?
I move that we approve the decision for 1 Sudbury Road, subject to the changes noted.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Anybody want to make a motion on 187 Boston Post Road?
I move that we approve the certificate of action for 180 Boston Post Road with the changes noted.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Coming down the home stretch. Okay, Sanderson Road, so apparently we're still waiting for the building inspector's letter on the fence height. We just signed off on the lighting fixtures.
Okay, we did not continue Sanderson Road to the 23rd, which we probably should for a decision unless we're gonna vote this.
Then, no, I mean,
Do we need to wait for it?
I think we need to wait for the letter. We could vote a contingent on getting the letter, I suppose.
do you want to,
We don't usually do that, do we?
well, do you
No.
want
We
to,
don't usually-
we didn't really open the meeting, but do you want to continue it to next
Next week. the
Next
23rd.
week. the 23rd?
So what were the final lumanages?
Roughly 15.
Okay, so we've got up here's the total reading for all interior, shall not exceed 1250.
We
Yeah,
don't
that's
know
gotta
what those
change.
are.
Okay, so.
And we don't know the exact number.
All right, you don't
We just
know.
gotta
Okay,
shuffle
so we're
it
gonna
around.
consider, continue it on the 23rd.
You'll be less cranky.
Thank you.
9:30. 9:30 p.m. and then the board can also look at that last decision for the last Verizon decision.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're not going to look at this now? is what you're
No.
saying.
There's a couple of pieces missing.
Maybe you can send it to us via email when you get the missing information and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can review it.
Okay,
together.
so
Get it?
19 Oak will be discussed at 10 o'clock on the 23rd.
It's 19:0.
That's the other Verizon decision.
Oh, okay.
Now, Al won't be here.
Um,
Stop that.
I don't want to lose it.
And I'm nominating Steve to be chairman pro tem.
But you're a senior.
But that doesn't mean anything.
Roy's done it before.
Roy's done it
And
before.
they wrote me
Exactly.
the last time.
Huh?
They wrote me that last time.
Yeah, you were. So,
Well, you guys decided my.
yeah, I would rather
I
Steve.
can try.
Yeah.
Is there any other?
You're just more authoritative.
Any other business, or shall I?
You're trying to weasel your way out the door, huh?
Where did the
Ring the bell.
agenda go?
Here.
This is it. We're done.
Okay, we're
All the
done.
agenda items are done.
Okay,
We're just waiting for Roy to make a motion on
Okay.
it.
You didn't review
Roy
minutes,
makes-
but that's okay.
And I heartily
Um,
motion.
you're gonna get a slug of minutes.
I just say we approve them.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
And there's one little correction.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's it.
I'm gonna-
Good night.
We're getting giddy.
We are getting